Hi everyone, this is Arpad from the YouTube channel Start Path Academy, and I want to share a couple of thoughts about how you can get out wealthier in an economic crash, but certainly deflationary pre-hyperinflation cycle. So we looked at many different historical events of hyperinflation, and some, in the cases of some, definitely like Weimar German hyperinflation, there are these sort of like pullback events before the government overreacts and prints out way too much money to kind of break the confidence of the general public, which in end leads to hyperinflation. So the confidence breaking in the general public is that eventually turns out to be hyperinflation. Of course, that predecessed the overprinting of the money. But what we're trying to focus on now is the contraction period before hyperinflation. Now, whether that's hyperinflation or digital dollar forcefully not letting you spend your money in the future, I don't know. But in a contraction period, no matter what type of economy is, there are certain kind of periods, like smaller section, what happens. And first, eventually you get to the realization phase where people and especially companies, definitely small companies, realize that no matter how much they spend on marketing, no matter how much they push their product, people are now coming out of the first wave of inflation into the dip period, and their life costs, right, like housing, food, energy, and that sort of stuff went up so much that they can no longer afford the lifestyle that they had before in the first wave of inflation, before the first wave of inflation. So what happens is that a lot of small companies either can adapt or go bankrupt. And the good thing, the positive here, the good takeaway here is that if you're a small company with fewer employees and you're high performance, if you're on a high performance company, you can adapt quickly to that. Maybe you need to swap your product line, maybe you need to do something else, but be sure to understand that because of the rent increases, because of many other increases, they can no longer afford a certain lifestyle. And if your niche is in there, you're in trouble. Okay, so the opportunity here is that while in growth periods, a company can sell more product, do upsell, do other stuff. Oh, do you want to also buy this? Offer more for them, try to lock in customers for the long run. That might not necessarily be the best strategy in a contraction. And if you can shift your company's kind of mentality of how you run your smaller company, you get to get ahead of the curve. And one very good takeaway here is that instead of trying to sell more stuff or do more advertising, what you can do is help your customers and help other companies especially save money. So instead of offering them extra services for extra money, you should modify your services in a sense, or provide alternative services to services that they already have with maybe less features but helping them saving money. If you can do that and you can lock in a customer base of people who are scaling back in operations or scaling back in advertising, scaling back or anything else, and you give them a baseline of features, a baseline of a product that helps them save money in the long run, that's what they're looking for in the contraction period. And usually the contraction period is between 2 to 5 years, right? That was the case for Weimar Germany, right? So look out for opportunities how you can help other companies and people save money. What are the alternatives that you can provide to services or products that they are already used to, but now it's getting harder and harder for them to purchase that, so they might be scaling down, and you'll catch a lot of clients that way. So that's like, if you're looking for like a career for the next 2 years, 3 years maybe, that you can help out other companies, making sure that you know performance optimizations or methods how other companies can save money, like the Six Sigma method, or have a degree in Kaizen, or become a person that can help companies save money. And they will invite you over, you will look at their processes, you will refine the processes, and you will help them save money. And the big companies that are not able to adapt to this because of pride, because of history, because of they're too well connected right now, as soon as deflationary ladder hits another step, most of them are going to be wiped out. And what's good about that for you as an individual or as a small company owner, that you can pick up the slack or pick up the pieces. If you have this mentality, you'll do well even in a possible hyperinflationary situation, because again, hyperinflation is even though the mentality is different, where instead of, oh, I'm trying to save money, now they're going to spend all of the money all at once, the main effect of it is still the same. The main effect of it is the living conditions worsening. And because the living conditions are worsening, the consumers are gonna, basically the people who are scattering around during hyperinflation, they're gonna need to look for alternatives. So one example that I give is that during the end of communism, right, the end of communist phase in Romania, right, we used to have these huge companies that produced a lot. Like, think about China now, they're producing like huge, vast, big companies producing items, right? If they go bankrupt, in the sense that they were not able to adopt to the hyperinflationary environment, that doesn't mean that necessary items, right, are gonna go away. They're still like things that you can produce that people need even during hyperinflation. Is that the big company falls apart, it gets pulled apart, in our case venture capitalists and disaster capitalists came into Romania and kind of helped that process, right? But back to the topic, is it gets pulled apart, and now there's gonna be a lack of stuff that you can produce, right? And these are usually like pieces to existing machinery. If there's a big company that's producing, let's say, parts for sewing machines, right, where my father used to work, if that company could no longer adapt to hyperinflation environment, it got bankrupt. But that did not mean that the pieces for the sewing companies, for the sewing machines, were still in demand. It's just they could not adopt to the hyperinflation environment. So you, as a small company, you can fix stuff, necessary items, you can provide necessary items, and that is one way how my family and I kind of not just survived, but eventually made it through better off after hyperinflation, because my father was able to set up a machine shop, kind of look for what he can repair, right? What he can repair and what people need to replace even during hyperinflation. So there's going to be tremendous opportunity, whether it's a crash, deflationary crash for 2-5 years, or even hyperinflation. Look what you can fix for other people that maybe is not that profitable right now, but as soon as the big companies are going to fail, you're going to be able to pick up the slack. So don't go bankrupt right now. Don't go full in, but look for opportunities and kind of set up, kind of be pre-positioned into a position where you can help others save money, help others fix stuff, and help companies be more efficient and survive a deflationary crash. So I think that is the biggest takeaway, and many people, if you adopt and you're flexible enough as a man or even as a company, you will thrive during these hard times that I described. All right, I hope that gave you some new ideas. Talk to you next time.